Hello! Hello. I am back from another rather long break. It wasn't that bad. It was like 2 weeks. Um, but yeah, hi, hello. Um, I. I'm so bad at starting, like, chatting streams. You guys have no idea. It is surprisingly hard to just be like, alright, let's talk about this thing. No, like, how do you fucking slide into a conversation when you're talking to the void or to chat or whoever else? I don't know. But yeah, I just got back earlier this week from spring break, and then at the start of this week, I was gonna be like, ooh, I'll set up a schedule with streams on it, and I'll do stuff on like my usual Tuesday, Thursday, whatever else. And then I was like, I am like drowning in homework right now. And so I decided not to do that until now, which I'm a lot more free right now. That said, I'm also tired as hell for some reason, because I say for some reason, it's because I had to wake up at like 7 a.m. today. And I didn't end up like sleeping after that, so to like make up for it. So yay! I am going right the fuck to sleep right after I'm done with this stream. You guys have no idea. But yeah, so I want to talk about like what I was up to during spring break and some things I want to do in the future, because I have ideas, and I think they're gonna be really fun. I made a tweet about this recently where I was like, oh man, I keep on having cool ideas for like things to do, and then they end up I just don't do them because I'm like, oh, I should wait until I have a bigger audience for them, and then I consequently don't end up with a bigger audience because like I'm not doing cool things. So I'm saying now, fuck it, I'm doing the cool things, or at least some of them, and then if I get a later audience, they can come watch the VOD. Easy, done. But before we get into that, let's talk about break. So over spring break, Wizard Boy, that's me, I'm Wizard Boy, and his wizard college friends took a trip over to Canada, which is the first time I have ever been out of the country, other than, I guess technically, I left the entire plane that I came from of all the other... Anyway, point is, lore aside, it's the first time I've left the US, which I think is really... It was very interesting seeing... Because, like, the best way I could describe Canada now that I've been there in comparison to the US is that it's like if the US took a shower, like it's cleaner, and also there's just like a side of French in there, and then like other than that, it's like the vibes I get from the two places are very similar. The best way I can, like, the most prominent place I could see that is like the roads and like the highways and whatnot, where it's like, yeah, this is like vaguely more pleasant than the US, but it's still very similar vibes of like big massive highway with absolutely nothing near it, and then if there is something near it, it's just like, instead of having like a random McDonald's or Starbucks or whatnot, it's just Tim Hortons and A&W, right? Like it's the same fucking shit as down here. But that's it. It was a fun trip. We visited. I got to see Niagara Falls, and I got to see Toronto, which is probably the biggest city I've been in so far. And it was a fun time. God, there's some fun stories from that trip. So, where do I even start? What's the first tale to tell about this? God, I should have prepped it. I'm gonna open up my phone and I'm just gonna go through the photos, and I'll use that to jog my memory, as just to remember what exactly happened on that trip, and if there's anything fun. Well, there is definitely something fun to talk about. It's just I'm trying to remember everything. Let's see. Over the course of my trip there, so I already live in a pretty cold weather area, so it's not like I'm unfamiliar to cold places. It's just that as the trip went on, I progressively like kept like started bringing and wearing more and more of my cold weather gear, and by that I mean like just like wearing a scarf on day 2, and then wearing my like a fuzzier hat instead of just a hood on day 3, 4, and whatever. And it just got more and more. Yeah. What were some interesting things? The Airbnb we were going to, had like we were. It took us a while to find an Airbnb, and because we were trying to look for it'd be the best for me and my friends. But the one that we settled on, it was just like, oh wow, this is like a perfect fit for us. And we're looking, and it had like 3 reviews from the same person, 2 of which were in the span of like a couple of months. And it's like, yo, what is this guy? This man's just a 3rd tenant of this house or whatever. Like, he's just living here the whole, like, so, and he's giving positive, it's like, of course he likes it if he's coming back like 3 times, but like, still. There was like, and once we got there, we pretty much just thought, okay, we're gonna chill at the end of day 1 just because like traveling, energy drained, whatever. We're just gonna get takeout from like, I think we got like Jollibee's, and so we're like, okay, fuck it, we're gonna just do that. But so we were relaxing and we're looking, and they had one of those things that was like, it was a world map pin board type thing. It's like, hey, where are you guys from? And just so you can see where everyone's from. It's like, wow, there's like people who have come to this place from like all over the world. And I was trying to figure out what the most interesting like place that someone's come from was. And I was looking, and I think the one that took the cake had to be the guy who apparently was from North Korea. I don't know if it was truthful, but big if true, funny if not, or funny if true still. And it's just like, huh, that there were a lot of things on that trip that just made me go, huh. Like, something I noticed while I was at Niagara Falls was looking at like the fence from the Canada side that was there, and then seeing the fence on the American side, like in the distance, and seeing how much like the Canadian fence was just like this nice like brick thing with like some ornate metal like fencing like between some of the bricks and whatnot, and it's like it looked really pretty, and it's like yeah, it might be easier to climb over or something if you like, because there's like big bricks or whatnot as opposed to just like metal bars, and it's like, you know, it looked really nice, and you know, you just don't be an idiot, don't climb onto the other side of it. Meanwhile, the American side is just fucking like the most basic bars, like bar fence thing, metal, and it just looks so boring, and I'm just like, oh man, that is a legally adequate fence if I have ever seen one. That is the please don't sue us fence. Yeah, Niagara Falls was pretty awesome. There's not really that much to say other than big waterfall, but it was cool. There was just like a storm of birds just swirling around the pluming, like the water plumes. There's also this like weird fucking. So while we were, it took us. Oh yeah, I remember this fucking story. So it took us a long time to figure out how to actually get to the falls from the place that we parked. Like at first we tried following signage, but I was like, no, this is just some weird like viewing angle that you have to pay for. No, we're just trying to get to like the public space that you can walk to. It didn't help that it was like 20 degrees Fahrenheit out or whatever. So it was also just really cold as we were trying to look for this. But I'm just like, okay, I'll pull up Google Maps and we'll just start looking. And Google Maps told me to go on the weirdest fucking. It basically told me to walk on the highway to go around to get to this place. And I'm like, no, that can't be the right answer. So I skip ahead in the Google Maps thing a bit. I'm like, oh, okay, if we just walk down this very nice pedestrian area, then we can get to it way faster without having to cross a literal highway. And it worked. It was just like Google. Like we were basically wandering through this weird like arcade building that like it had like this there's like it was this old abandoned, like it wasn't abandoned, it was technically still running. It was probably just that we got there like as it was opening, but it also did look like it was half closed. But I think the weirdest thing in the arcade, first of all, other than like the bathroom where it was just like you could tell that there was still very like there was like COVID measures in there from like peak COVID that they never like changed up. So like the bathroom, it was like you went in one door, did whatever, and then you go out the other door. And like the escalator that went up to the second floor was on the other side of the building from the escalator that goes down, and they're both only one way. And it's just like, it's just a weird place. They had this version of air hockey. It was called like Boomerang, where it was like, imagine an air hockey table, but like, hold on, I'm gonna get MS Paint up, and I'm gonna show you what this fucking thing looked like. Hold on, how can I do this? Window capture. Where are you? There you are. Window capture. Cool. Yes, paint. Okay, so so here's what happened. Oh, here's what it looked like. So you take like, is there like, oh, what are all the shapes in here? Some of these shapes in Paint are fucking worthless, I swear. They're like, why, who would use these? Okay, fine, we'll just do it by brush. So, like, this, like, it looked, so you had, this was the setup. And it was like, this was how it was structured with, like, this section here that I'm drawing in was the part where you would, like, have all where the puck would go. So you had, like, your hitting thing, and then the goals would be down here and here. And so it was like you had to rebound around the fucking thing to aim into the goal. And it's like, that's cool, but why? Why do that? So I sent the picture of this thing to my family and be like, hey, this is kind of funny. And my brother came up with a very astute observation that said, wow, they managed to port hip checking people into air hockey too. I'm like, fuck, you know what? That might honestly be it. That they just want to fucking be able to do like ice hockey shit on air hockey as well. God. Later that day, we also did an escape room that was really fun. This part of the things we got a little bit hung up on because of like clues being month day rather than day month for like the 4-digit codes. But luckily, you could tell that they knew that this was an issue because, like, as part of they had like they had a show that was like month, day, year, and it's like, oh right, Canada, not America. Okay, gotcha. They know, they actually have reasonable organization of how they do their dates. It was cool. The last like final clue of it was like, it was basically like, hey, yo, what's your birthday? And it's like, wow, they know that because I submitted on the form earlier. That's crazy. It was a really cool escape room, though. They had, like, a fun plot where it was like, oh, yeah, you're trying to get the will or something like that of your deceased aunt or something. But then by the end of it, you learn, oh, no, she's not dead. She's actually just she's getting, like, her 13th marriage. And like, you're invited to the wedding once you beat the puzzle. And it's like, that's fun. That's fun. Next day, we went to, like, the Toronto Zoo. Because we basically got the city pass thing that lets you go to, like, a bunch of the major attractions in the area. And absolutely, the highlight of the zoo was this red panda that, like, it was just, like, it knew what it wanted to do, I guess. Because it would just go on patrol, basically. It was just walking in this like big path circle in its enclosure that like I can't tell if it was like shoveled out for it or like if it had been walking in it so long that it basically made it into a path, because in this it was like snowy, so there was like a ditch in the snow or whatever. But it would just walk in this exact same, not quite circle, but like polygon shape or whatever. At some, like, you know, at one of the turns it might do a little twirl or whatever, but it would just walk in circle and then just keep doing it until eventually it decided to mix it up, and it went up to like the place where its food was, and it just started munching on that instead. But like for a good 5 minutes or so at least, like from when we were watching, it just kept going in this fucking circle, and I'm like, dude, you're just on a like, are you lost? Is this just like, are you just getting your steps in for the day? Like, but it was so cute. It was so fucking cute. Red pandas are amazing. A couple years ago, in one of my classes for like web design, we had a textbook that it was teaching about like some tool like Flexbox and Grid or whatever. Anyway, doesn't matter. Point is that it was just a lot of info at once, and so at one point the text was like, "Hey, I know that we know that was a lot to like info dump on you, so just take a moment to pause. Here's a picture of a red panda, so just chill, relax, enjoy it, and before we move on to the next part." And I'm just like, you know what, textbook based, good, thank you for giving a little break there. And then even better, so our professor would give like chapter quizzes or whatever, just to like check that you read the textbook. And one of the questions on the quiz was, what animal is this? And it was a picture of a red panda. And the answers were like, like spicy raccoon, and like some other things. I forget exactly what they were, but it was so good. I'm just like, you know what, good on you, professor. You made me laugh while taking this quiz. And this was like during peak COVID, so I'm like, you know what, I need this energy in my life right now. Spicy raccoon. Yeah, no, it was so good. I love that professor. Also, hello, Moirai. I can talk. God, I stumble over my words as soon as I have to interact with another human person. How have you been doing? I almost just said, how have you been up to? Holy shit. Have I just not had a no, surely I've been talking with people. Yeah, no, I have been. I guess I just went from narration mode to conversation mode, and it was just I tripped on like every possible word. That's the mood. I'm glad it's not just me. Oh, something cool. I don't know, you might notice it in comparison to previous streams, is that I've cranked up all of the like quality settings for this stream, in part because I'm not like playing a game that will like take down some of the quality, but the fucking, what's it called? So first of all, VTube Studio recently introduced or support for like this spout plugin thing. Anyway, point is that it is much more easy on the CPU. And so now I can be at like 60 FPS and like full 1920 by 1080. It's crazy. We have high quality INIS rather than crunchy INIS. I don't know how my bitrate is. I don't remember what a good bitrate is. So it might still be like incredibly fucking low. But, you know, better than before. I'm good, tired, but can't sleep. How you doing? Yeah, no, I mood. I was taking like basically a mini nap right before this stream because I woke up at like 7 a.m. this morning because I had like an appointment, but and I hadn't taken a nap after that, so I was like, oh fuck, sleepy. Do I delay stream? I'm like, no, I'm not delaying my first stream back after break. I'm just gonna go live and I'll find the energy as I go. Yeah, no, Spout it's actually really good. You basically just have to download this one plugin for OBS, and then it also makes it so that the UI doesn't show up whenever you're like opening it. So yeah, it is really nice. Also, thank you for the hydrate redeem. I need it. But yeah, Yeah, I was just talking about how over spring break, I went to Toronto in Canada with some friends of mine, uh, and it was my first time out of the country. So yeah, the what else happened at the zoo? There was this one kid at the zoo that was like he couldn't have been older than like 7, or maybe like 10 or whatever. I don't know, but he was like behind us while we were going through this one exhibit. Um, and he just kept on saying basically like, "These nuts, Gotti." It was just like this total squeaker kid who just like clearly didn't know how D's nuts jokes worked, like worse than the average Twitch chat at making them, and he was just having the time of his life, right? Like, but it was just so funny. uh, it was interesting. It was weird seeing like, you know, at any point with the zoo, when you're going to a zoo, at some point, a lot of times you're probably going to be thinking, maybe it's not the best idea that this animal is here. Like, you know, I get like some of them are genuinely for like preservation efforts, but then sometimes, like when you see like camels in Toronto, just like in the snow, it just feels wrong. Like something has gone wrong here, as far as like what's happening. Or like lions in the snow. It's like, I don't think that animal is supposed to be in this environment. I'm not gonna lie. There's also like, give the poor camel a heated blanket. No, literally. Okay, I'm sorry. This is a totally different thing. I was just scrolling through my photos from the trip. So, okay. I'll talk about the bookstore in a bit, but first, let me finish up the zoo story. So, yeah, we were going through. The most crowded part was definitely like the penguin exhibit, like because it was like an interior, like it was basically this one window that you would see inside to the like African penguins, and it was just all like a crowd of kids just sort of like staring into the glass or whatever. Guess I think like one of the penguins feeders or trainers or whatever was also there, like feeding the penguins, and it's like, oh, cute. So I got a little bit of a peek at that, at the penguins of Madagascar or whatever, but yeah, it was so crowded. Could also tell that a lot of the animals definitely were like indoors or whatever for the season, because Toronto winter plus like African savanna creatures, probably not the best combination. Yeah, no, it was a fun time. We didn't get to explore all of it just because there was so much, like it was just such a big area. But we got to check out a bunch of cool stuff. Yeah, so the next later that day, I made a tweet that would I'm gonna screenshot this tweet. Actually, I'm gonna oh, hold on, where is it? Come on. You know, I should have prepped some of this beforehand, but tired. Where is it? Okay, here we go. Can I copy paste images just straight into OBS? No, but I did copy a second. I did make a second copy of my model, so that's cool. God, I'm gonna have to save the image and then drag it in. Okay, it'll be worth it, I promise. Let's save it, plop it in, yeah. Where is it? Okay. Pop. So, I made this tweet. Small town wizard boy just teleported into the middle of his first big city, and wow, there's things that are happening! Imagine that! Also, the drip is immense and the people are hot, but that's neither here nor there. So, I made this tweet after I was, you read this and it's like, oh, haha, wizard, magic, teleportation. He didn't actually teleport into like the middle of a city. No, so here's the thing. I wasn't the one driving on this trip. Like, one of my housemates was. And so oftentimes I would just like be sleeping in the car. So I just like fell asleep in the back seat after we were leaving the zoo, because it was like a 30 minute to hour drive to like downtown Toronto from the zoo. So I just fell asleep, and when I woke up, I was in the middle of Toronto, and I'm like, so yeah, I effectively, from my point of view, I effectively teleported into the middle of Toronto, and it was just like, and because like the only other big cities I can think of that I've been to were like I've seen a little bit of Boston when I went to PAX East last year, and like I think that's pretty much, like, I've been to Baltimore, I guess, and those are pretty much the only big cities that I've been to. The change in scenery is wild. Yeah, no, it was like I was just dropped into the middle of this like mega mall complex thing, and I'm like, huh. And literally the first thing I saw when going outside was just like there was a streetcar or like a tram that was like parked out there, like ready to go, and just like it was basically like if I was dropped straight into Times Square. And so it was like, huh. I'm like, wow, okay, I am a small town boy, all things considered, and so it's like, it was definitely an experience. So yeah, I basically just teleported into the middle of the city. But it was cool. It was like, it was cool seeing all this stuff happen. Like, you know, people just like walking around, like, to go do things. It's just crazy seeing that. It's like, wow. As opposed to just like where I'm from, where if you're walking around, it's like, oh, do you want to go hang out like on the side of this highway or in front of the no loitering sign? But yeah, so anyway, it was super cool. I love the transit systems in Toronto. Like, it was also my first time riding a subway. And it was really interesting. It was like wild to me how it's just like how efficient it is, I guess. Where it's just like, okay, all right, we're at the stop. Doors open, get off, get on. Doors close, move. And it's just like, wow, okay, this is fast. So I'm getting distracted. I have like a chunk of lint stuck on the inside of my shirt, I think. It's like in one of the buttonholes. And I don't know, imagine change of scenery is wild. Man, that's a mood. Yeah, no, I live surrounded by woods. Finding a 2-story building in my area is wild. Jeez. Yeah, I grew up in, like, suburban type area. Typical, like, American, like, rural suburban stuff. Where I was lucky I had friends in my neighborhood, because otherwise I would just be like, there's nowhere to go. Something I could go into a whole rant about how cities and towns should be walkable, and how like places should be like, you should have points of interest near houses and like businesses so that you can actually walk places that are interesting and like hang out and have a sense of community. Anyway, I won't go on my urbanism tirade, because I could do that, but there's more to this Toronto trip that I want to talk about. So as part of this like mega mall complex, you know, my friends and I basically realized, there's actually not that much for us to do here, because we're not like trying to buy anything, right? Like, so we're like, okay, let's look around. We'll stop by like this bookstore and like this clothing store or whatever. Mess around with. We went to this Samsung store that and we went up to the smart fridge and started messing with like stuff in it. We found that like people listed like really stupid like food things as items in the fridge or on the grocery list, like I think the best one was probably like the blood of Jesus was listed as an item in there, or just like a bunch of other random shit, but the other thing that we found, we opened up a drawings app. I think one of my friends drew an Among Us guy, as you do. But the other thing was just like, seeing how many things we could open on the like display computers, like getting up command prompt and whatnot. Like I think we found the IPs of some of the computers just because why not? Yeah, so we went to this bookstore though, and as we were looking around, we found this one thing. You know what? Hold on. I'm gonna send these pictures. Actually, I'm gonna put these on the stream. Give me like a hot minute, cause it was a sight to behold. I'll be honest. It was certainly something. I'm just gonna DM my VTuber account from my non-VTuber Discord. That's probably the best way for me to do this. Now how do I have to like I have to actually like new chat. No, I'm not gonna add a friend, I guess? Yeah, sure, why not? God, I'm running into a lot of things, so it's like, I should have prepped for that, You know, I'll add myself from the other end because I know my full user ID, so that'll make sense. No, I'm not trying to make a new group DM. Add friend. There we go. I almost just started like saying my name out loud as I was typing it. Okay. Well, let's get that set up. Bonk. Yes. So now I can DM myself. Message. So I can finally send these images over. Come on. I'm a very professional streamer, I promise. We're almost there, guys. We're almost there. It's crazy. We've almost got it. Oh, wait. Is he gonna... Oh, fuck. Oh, I'm sorry. Hold on. Wait. Speaking of professional streamer, I forgot to open up the app that does my redeem. Hold on. Give me 1 second. I'll fix that for you. Hold on. I will, the head pats will happen soon. I promise. It... Oh, this is in fucking shambles. Okay, so we download that image. We download this image. And then... Where are they? I have to wait for them to load in to make sure I don't... Okay, here we go. It's a headpan spirit. Now, as soon as the app opens, it's taking a while to load. I also haven't updated Mix It Up in, like, a month, so that might be part of it. Failed to connect to Twitch event subs? What? Well, you know what, hold on. Okay, so I'm just gonna update this in the background while while this is happening. Yeah, sure, I'll update. Yep, okay, here's hoping that this doesn't, like, break my stream. I use Mix It Up for my redeems, or for most of them. A couple of them are, just through the, like, whatever audio thing. I forget what it's called. Oh, updated? Do it work? Come on, Mix It Up, I believe in you. You can do it. In the meanwhile, I have found the images, so let's just drop these in here. So, jump scare. So we were looking through the bookstore, and we found just, like, these displays of, like, hundreds of copies of Prince Harry's, like, autobiography memoir thing. Like... Just so many copies. Like, look at this shit. Look at this. It was an entire fucking wall full of them. like a whole fucking shelf from back to front. Yeah, it's just all staring straight at you. It was a jump scare anytime you go into it. Oh, also, wait. Oh, hold on. Wait. Ooh. Come on. Let me test. Yeah, there we go. Okay. The most delayed head pad of all time. But yeah, no, it was amazing. It's just like, the best part is that later we saw that this was listed as it was also like another shelf of this in their bestseller category. And I'm like, bullshit, this is one of your best sellers. You're carrying like 700 copies of this. Like, that sounds like oh yeah, it's great, guys. Like, I wonder, like, maybe it actually was a bestseller, but then they're like, oh fuck, this sold out super quickly. We need to order like 1,000 copies of it now, and then no one bought it afterwards. I wonder if that's what happened. But it's just fucking ridiculous. How many did you buy if you still have this many? Exactly, right? Like, but yeah, no, it was so stupid. Here, now I can, okay. It's so funny. It's, God. There was just, I saw, like, at some point someone, like, broke a glass in the store. I'm like, oh, sucks to be that person. What else happened while we were in the city? We, like, walked around, we saw a couple of, like, landmarks and whatnot. So that was cool. We saw a bunch of people ice skating, but by this point we had been walking all day, and like most of us haven't ice skated before, and it was just like an open rink, so we didn't want to fucking, like, our legs were already tired, and that would not have been a good combination. So maybe someday I'll learn how to ice skate. I have plenty of opportunities where I live to do so. It's just a matter of like going out and doing it at some point. At one point we were going to, we had like 40 minutes until our reservation at this one place, and so we were walking over and we're like, okay, we need some time to kill, and we don't want to just hang out at like on the side of the street or whatever. So we're going to hang out. I'm like, okay, hey, there's like this park nearby, we can just sort of go there. We went over, we chilled for a bit, and we also realized that we were right next to like some art school, or like the art building of like some school. It had one of the, like, part of it looked really cool, and then another building nearby, it was like a glass building that had have you ever made like I don't know if any of you have ever played Minecraft, but like sometimes you're building something and you realize, oh fuck, I forgot to put space for like the staircase or whatever. Let me just add on a chunk to the outside of this wall. Like I'll add on a new room or to the side. This looked like it was this glass box of a building, and then just like on the like 20th floor or something like that, or the like maybe on the 10th floor, there was just this weird jank staircase, like enclosed staircase that stuck out and just sort of meandered along the side of the building to go to like the floor above it. And it was just that one floor. It needed some extra space. Yeah, I don't know what it was about. It just looks so weird. And it was just like a weirdly shaped staircase too. Like, what is this? Actually, no, I think it like skipped a floor. It went from like floor 7 to floor 9. And I'm like, why? Here, let me hydrate for a second. Yeah, it was totally an after. Like, it had to have been intentional in that case if they were like, it was too jank to be an accident. I see those near where I live where people expand their houses. It looks like cancer's growth. Yeah, no, it was just like, you know, hold on. I'll post the image here as well. Let me get this. Like, this is probably the most, because like otherwise it's a really sleek building, but like this one bit is just wrong. Save image. There. Boop. Okay. Oh, hold on. Scale it down. Like, look at this. It's just there. It's like this building, and then they just feel like, oh fuck, we never connected those two floors. We gotta like stick it on. Like, what is this? Ugh. Oh my god, I love it. I love it so much, and it's just like this is just overlooking like this really nice park. I want to believe this architect had a cool idea, and when they were almost done, someone like said it was a safety violation to not have a staircase. Yeah, or God, that would totally check out. That was like, oh fuck, we need like, it's like, oh, we need like maybe there's an elevator there or something, or like maybe they like need a ramp or whatever. Who knows? Who knows why it happened? I just know that it did happen, and that the world is a weirder place for it. Yeah, so near that, there was this like art building for this college. They were like, hey, let's go check it out. We wanted to see if we can get up to like this like cool part of the building that was like this overhang. Like, we'll see if we can get there. Instead, what we did, we basically just went inside. Like, at first we were like, oh, this is just like a building where like classes are going on. Okay. And we're obviously not from this college. We're not even from this country. So we're just sort of infiltrating this college. So we were looking around. It was like, ooh, cool. Look, these are cool art projects. And we went and we found this like this one wall that was basically like, hey, feel free to put up whatever you want here as long as it's like, you know, within these certain terms and conditions, or within certain guidelines. And it's just like this public art project type thing. And so there was a healthy combination of like really cool art and shit posts. There were many Among Us. There was like someone did Loss in there. There was just like it was really cool. But like there were some really gorgeous like drawings on there as well. There was one exchange that just like quote out what people wrote on here. When's the last time you've called your mom? Someone responds, I don't know, but I called yours recently. Get fucked. Someone responds, I live in your walls, heart. Wait, oh, you don't know what Loss is? Please tell me you have a photo. Oh, hold on. Yeah, no, I'll post the photo in a second. But someone responded to the I live in your walls one with, there's bugs under your skin, and then someone else responded to that with, me for real. God. No, here, wait, let me get the Loss image. It was right next to an Amogus thing as well. Where is it? Save image. Get to the right folder. Come on, there we go. Okay. Bonk, big image. It was right next to sus spelled out in the Amogus font. It was perfect. One of my friends, and one of the things was like, someone wrote something out in like Chinese or whatever, Mandarin, and my friend who like kind of knows the language was trying to translate, and he's like, oh, I like kind of know, but fuck, I have to like Google Translate or whatever. And afterwards he realized it was someone talking about Ayaka or whoever from Genshin. Is like, yo, because that's his favorite character too. It's like, that person's based, what are the odds? In another sort of, Lost is everywhere the shitposts follow us into reality. Yeah, Lost was the OG Amogus. But yeah, no, so there was like some other really interesting things there. Like I saw like, oh, the Among Us font looks cursed as fuck. Yeah, it's amazing. I love it. I saw this. There's a drawing on there. Like fan art for my favorite like Niji Sanji VTuber. That was there. I'm like, yo, what are the odds? And I'm pretty sure it was the only VTuber fan art that was like on that wall. I'm like, yo, these people are based. And so what my friend did was, he's like, wait, Wait, Innes, you brought a pen, right? Or someone, or like someone here has a pen, right? And I'm like, yeah. And they hand it here, hand it here. And he drew on his own Among Us thing, and then did the hashtag and then our school name. It was just like, it just says like to know that they've been infiltrated. And I'm thinking one day we'll get something at our college that's from this place. Eventually, someone gets payback or someone infiltrates our. Because we also have plenty of like student art walls or things like that. But yeah. Let's see what else happened here. Equivalent exchange. Yeah, exactly. So we went to this castle, Castle Loma, which it was made in like 1914-ish, I think, for some rich dude, I guess. I don't know. And now it's a tourist attraction. What I love though is that the theming, like all the employees are dressed up in like medieval or fantasy type medieval clothing. It's a Canadian castle. It existed like 100 years ago, and that's when it was made. There was never medieval stuff here. Like, it's like, I don't know why, but like most of it is like, when you get to the actual museum part of it, it is filled with like World War stuff, which actually makes a lot more sense. But it's just like, why is everyone dressed up in like fancy knights and princess and kings outfits and whatnot, right? It's like, that is not what this place ever was. But it was really cool. Looking around and all that, I learned some amazing lore, like real life lore. So back in one of the World Wars, there was like, it was probably World War II. Canada was developing this like early form of sonar that was being used to detect German U-boats. And the place that they were developing it was like, they took a bit of this castle, which at the time was an active tourist attraction. They put up a sign in this one room that says like, under renovations or whatever, or under construction, do not enter, basically. They had a $1 padlock, and inside they were developing like sonar detection for submarines, for like to fight the Germans. And it's like, what? And it was like, and you know, it was never found by like enemy spies, because why would you check this tourist attraction that people are constantly going through? But they were just developing it right there. Like, there were people like touring like the next room over, like looking at World War I stuff, probably. Fuck it, we're making a castle, sir. It's 1970. Yeah, no, literally. God. Yeah, no, it was wild. And I'm like, bro, that lore. Ugh. Yeah, So, but yeah, no, it was cool. Apparently, there's an escape room there that they do sometimes. But honestly, if they had more security, it might have been more suspicious, actually. So, if it works, I guess. What else? Oh, we. Oh my god! The next part this is probably one of the best parts of the whole trip. So, we went to the Royal Ontario Museum, and obviously the first thing you have to acknowledge or think about anytime you're going into a museum is, why is this here, right? Like, why are there these ancient artifacts from like China or Africa or like the Middle East? Why are they in Canada right now and not in the places where they belong? But, you know, if you're able to put that aside, there's some cool history to be learned. Like, I'm trying to remember one of the things. I forget exactly. There's this story. I can't remember the stories or whatever, but there was some interesting stuff there. But what was really interesting is once we left like the ancient history exhibit and we got to like the dinosaur place, aka the place where they spend the most of their budget on like presentation, because that's where all the kids are gonna want to go. You're checking out there, and so my friends, anytime they found a touchscreen thing at an exhibit, they would just start swiping with it, like trying to open up, like trying to get Windows stuff to show up. And at one point, they managed to get like the settings or whatever. They in theory they would have been able to connect it to like Bluetooth. They saw that the whatever exhibit thing was running on like a Unity project. And I stopped them before like they did anything too much, to be like, hey guys, we're in public, please don't get us in trouble. I don't want to be stuck in Canada or something like that. I want to be able to go back home to the US or like not have any issues while we're here. But the one time I wasn't there, they managed to fucking like pull up the Windows settings, and like this was one of them pulled up MS Paint, and it was just like, dude, what are you doing? Oh my god, we could have done so much shit if it wasn't nearly as busy. Like if we came at a different time, holy shit, we could have fucked up their like that system or whatever. It was amazing, because the only thing you had to do was basically just swipe with 3 fingers, and it'd be like, oop, you want to change tabs? Cool, I'll let you do that. God. What else? We went up on CN Tower, which is just budget Space Needle. Kind of cool. Got some nifty photos up there. Like selfies and stuff like that. They had this really cool photo op thing where it was like on the glass they had like angel wings or whatever painted, and so like I would pose in front of them as if I'm like flying up above the city. It was cool. But yeah, what else? My friends asked me to take a photo of them posing based on some Attack on Titan thing or some meme. I don't know what the context was, but basically they were just like pointing at the sunset or whatever. It looked cool, but I don't know what the joke is. Well, I do know what the joke is. I don't know how to explain it though, because I haven't watched the show. What else? Trying to see what other types of shit that they broke. Oh yeah, so this is the last major story from this trip. We were running a tight schedule. We had this reservation for this fancy bar, like at the end of the night. And there was like a 15-minute grace period, and after that, you would just have to like wait in line. Traffic was really bad. So basically what we were doing is that we were driving through, like we drove to downtown to do the stuff that we were doing there. We were taking public transit to get between places. We go back to our car, drive back to our Airbnb, and then we were going to Uber to the bar so that we wouldn't be like, driving under the influence, right? So problem is the traffic was super congested on our way out from Toronto and on the way back in on the Uber. So we were already a bit delayed because we had to like get food. We had to eat before we went to the bar because there wasn't really much food there. And so we were running a bit behind, and we were gonna be late at this pace. So we were riding, and basically one of our friends is like, calling, making sure like, hey, can we get like an extension on our like grace period at all, or can you hold the table for a bit longer? This, okay, most we can do is like 20 minutes, and we're like, okay, fuck, okay, fine, sure. And so my friend is like, hey, to the Uber driver, would you mind? So we're gonna be running a bit late, it seems, and like, or running really close, and there's really bad traffic when we get closer to the city. Would you mind just like speeding a bit for us? And he's like, okay. And you can see kilometers per hour go from like 100 to like 120, and we're like, yeah. And he started using like the fast lane type, like the passing lane or whatever. And we're like, yeah, let's go, dude. And later we were talking when we were like inevitably stuck in traffic or whatever. We were just chatting about chatting with the Uber driver, and we we're asking what else he does. and we learned that he's also an Amazon delivery driver. And so I like to imagine that when we asked him to speed, it was like taking off the fucking training weights for him. Because Amazon delivery drivers have to, like, at least in the US, I imagine it's similar in Canada. You gotta go fast. Like, you gotta fucking do some crazy shit to get like your quotas in or whatever. And so I like to imagine that we basically just took off his limit, because I imagine he has his Uber mode where he drives safer and at like a low, at the speed limit or whatever, and then he has his Amazon mode where he's like trying to get to the place he can as fast as he can without getting pulled over. And I imagine we just switched him from one to the other. We got to the place, we got there on time, we tipped the driver handsomely for his amazing job, and it was a super fun time at the bar. It was like this really fancy place. They had like these really like cool drinks. It was like it wasn't just drinks, it was like an experience. And that's like, that sounds really pretentious, but it was like they did this thing where they tried to make it like they added like, there was like a display along with the drink and like maybe some edible components. And the display would have like aromatic stuff. So like, for example, the thing I basically, when my drink came in, it was basically like I ordered a fucking bush and it smelled like fall or whatever. It was wild. Like, it smelled like walking through a forest. And it was just like this nice like maple drink thing. And I don't really drink often, but like I only really drink if it's like on a rare occasion, or if my friend who mixes drinks is like, "Hey, Innes, you want to try out this thing that I'm mixing?" And I'm like, yeah, sure, why not?" But other than that, I stay sober or whatever. And I don't think I've ever gotten drunk. I've like only ever gotten like a little bit of a buzz, and that's the most I've done. But yeah, but no, it was a super cool place. Even as someone who doesn't drink, it was like yeah, the what I ended up ordering ended up being basically perfect for me, like the perfect amount. Like, I didn't even feel anything afterwards. It was great, and it just like tasted good. The experience was cool. It was just a fun place. But yeah, and then after that we went home on the next day, and everything went smoothly, and it was a fun time. I definitely want to visit Toronto again, especially because I have friends in the area as well. And I also want to try out their, I want to see if I can do, like, a trip there using a car as few times as possible. Just, like, using, like, the public transit and, like, the rental e-bikes that are there, all that sort of thing. Because, like, I bet I could do it. I could get through, like, most of a trip just using that instead. Depending on where I'm going. But yeah. So, let's see. Now that I've, gone through everything about the Toronto trip, what's funny is that I didn't actually tell those friends in the area that I was going there until after I already left, because I didn't want them to be like, "Oh, Innes, you should come visit," or whatever. Like, because I was with friends who didn't know them, and I'm like, and we were on a tight schedule, so I knew we wouldn't be able to meet up, and so I didn't want to like give them false hope or whatever, or try to like to disappoint them like that until it was already too late, basically. And so I told them, like, and they were like, "You were what?" And I'm like, "Yeah, no, I was there." And like, "Why did you tell us?" I'm like, "Yeah, I know, I would have been really busy, and I was with friends who don't know you guys," and I'm like, "Oh man." And I was like, "Yeah, don't worry, I'll come back like soon anyway, it'll be fine." But yeah, so it's really easy for me to get to Toronto from where I live. Just like the like, I have really good access to travel stuff from here. But yeah. So yeah, it was a fun trip. Trying to think if there's anything else noteworthy that I wanted to talk about. But I think that was most of it. I had some fun tweets while I was out there. Like, I had my poll about ice water, because I was like mad that I was like, I realized, oh man, I don't like it that like how restaurants, because I have really sensitive teeth, I think, for like temperature. So whenever I drink ice water, it just gets like fucking tooth hurty. And I'm just like, oh, I'm like, why is this the default? Like, I don't even know anyone who actually likes ice water more than like normal room temperature water. Like, why is it default to serve it with ice at restaurant? And so basically, am I the only one? Is it actually that more people like it one way? And out of my amazing sample size of like 9 people or whoever, it was determined definitively that the ice water is inferior or less popular and thus should not be the default. So anyway, now that I'm back, I want to talk about some plans I have for future streams, because I've got some really interesting ideas. I mentioned this one in my Discord a little back. By the way, you should check out the Discord. Okay, thank you. But I want to do a thing where I want to make like a Twitter post basically, and try to like reach out to a bunch of people. And I want to do a VTuber tournament arc, and by that I mean like basically I want to ask a bunch of VTubers like, hey, in a fight, what is your biggest offensive strength, defensive strength, like utility, and weakness? And take those 4 answers, pair them up against other VTubers, and basically have a tournament like super fight or like death battle style up into to see who the most powerful VTuber is out of the people who respond. And I think that'd be really fun, just because I love talking about lore and I love talking about like hypothetical, like I feel like it would give like D&D vibes of that sort of thing. I think I'll probably want to try to find like a co-host for that to try to argue both sides. But I think I'm gonna make that post sometime this weekend to try to get that set up. The other thing I'm thinking more for like a bit further in the future is in the summer I want to see if I can host like a game jam for like in particular for other VTubers, but like for anyone who wants to join basically. And just because, first of all, game dev here, I'm a game dev, or an aspiring one at least, one that's in the process of becoming one. Game jams are super cool, and like there's a lot of artists in the community. I know like some people who are into game design or programming and stuff like that, and I feel like you could like there's the skill sets are there to make some really cool projects in the VTuber community, and just like bring people together to work on that sort of thing would be super cool. Especially if people like stream their workflow or whatever, or like stream like art streamers could stream them making like the animations or like the art or whatnot. Like level designers or programmers could do streams with that sort of thing, and I feel like it'd just be a super cool event if I can get enough people interested in it. So yeah, I want to try to do that over the summer at some point. Especially because I'm sort of taking this channel in a bit of like that direction of talking about game design and like just media analysis of the things that I'm playing. And so I feel like it'd be on brand as well. And I really want to do it. I've only done 2 game jams so far, but I want to do more, and I feel like this would be a great excuse to do one just by hosting one for other streamers as well. Then the other thing, what was I gonna say? I don't know. Those are the 2 main ones, the 2 main things I wanted to do. As for games that I want to stream in the near future, I don't know. I might do some more Binding of Isaac. That seems to be doing well, and I still have some more to do in that game. Like I want to try to get to Mega Satan, because I feel like that'd be fun, but that might take a long time. So I'll see how long I stay interested in the game, I guess. I might go back and do Ascension climbing in Slay the Spire at some point. Trying to get to A20 on someone. I might go back and finally like start trying to beat Hades. Stuff like that. I also kind of want to do like a full like a playthrough of Hollow Knight and just doing level design analysis of the game, because that's an aspect of the game that I haven't really looked that deep into so far. But now I have like a better skill set to be able to analyze the level or the map layouts and stuff like that, and so I think that could be really interesting. And yeah, I don't know, there whatever else other stuff as well. I also want to take a peek back at Don't Starve Together, because I remember that's a game that exists, and I might try to yoink one or two of my friends to join in on that, if they're interested. But yeah, as for other like sort of creative projects, I want to do another karaoke stream at some point, and I might honestly, I kind of want to try doing like trying to make trans lyrics for some of the songs that I love that don't really have them, whether they're like not popular enough or just like haven't, like I just don't like any of the trans lyrics that people have made for them. It's not a skill set that I think I'm really good at, but it could be fun just to try to do it. It'd certainly be easier than learning Japanese for me at this moment. Maybe I'll do a Duolingo stream at some point for that, actually. Yeah, I also, at some point, I should probably learn to do video editing, and I want like to make more like short form edited videos out of my streams, or even just like YouTube shorts or whatnot, or TikToks. But yeah, I think my most recent stream before this was my Stanley Parable stream, which I'll also be continuing that game on Saturday. And that stream convinced me that I'm ready to start having like clippable moments or whatever. Like that stream was a major confidence boost for me as far as my ability to be an entertaining streamer. Because God, that game just brought out so much fun stuff. Yeah, I love that game so much so far. It's really good. It brought out a lot of good like conversations and stuff like that about all sorts of things that I love to talk about. I can't wait to play more of it. And I think it's just cool as like that might be a major checkpoint or like a turning point as far as like content creation for me, because for a while I feel like I've just been doing stuff that like I feel like I hadn't really found my niche or like my own style, but I think with that I've sort of stumbled into it in a way of just like I feel like I love talking about but I love talking about deep and meaningful like topics and stuff like that that aren't necessarily like divisive, but just like interesting things to talk about. And I love talking about game design and the aspects that go behind like stuff like media production, and just like media analysis as well. I love those sorts of things, and Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe gave me an excellent vessel to do all of that, because that game is about all of those things. And yeah, I think I really came into my own during that stream, and I cannot wait to see where I go from here. And speaking of that sort of thing, I am approaching 100 followers, which is hype as hell, and I'm not sure what I'm going to do for the celebration of that, but it seems like I'll probably have like a couple weeks to decide, I think. So yeah, I'm also approaching 150 on Twitter for the third time. The first two times I think it was based on like bot accounts that then later got deleted. So whenever that happens, I'm just gonna retweet my old celebration post, and then we'll go from there. Oh, I forgot the other thing I want to do. I've been really deep into Pokemon VGC recently. I've been running like a draft league among some of my friends, like outside of streaming. And I might want to make some content about that. It'd be over Pokemon Showdown because I don't actually have the actual games right now for Scarlet and Violet. But get a party hat. Ooh, I should totally make a party hat emote. That would be fun. I should make more emotes at some point, or like update my current ones. I think I could do some improvements with them. But yeah. I wonder if I could do like a recolor of my current hat to do, like get some polka dots on there, or like stars or whatnot. But yeah, no, I really want to do some competitive Pokemon stuff on like, probably at first through Pokemon Showdown, but at some point I'll probably buy Pokemon Violet, or maybe Scarlet, I'm not sure. Probably Violet. I like the future tech stuff and the color purple more than I like the ancient stuff and the color red. So I'll probably go with Violet, but I want to pick it up so that I can do stuff on console as well, and maybe even enter some like actual official tournaments at some point. And yeah, I think that would be a super fun time. Because I love competitive Pokemon, or I love like specifically some like I love doubles competitive, especially like VGC, because there's like 2v2 has so many more options than 1v1 whenever you're like so much more to think about, so many more team building options. Like so many of the moves that are just totally irrelevant in singles suddenly pop up in doubles. And like like the game is balanced around doubles, and it's so weird that the actual like story mode of the game isn't doubles at this point because it's also the official competitive format, and it's what they balance things around, and it's what they design stuff around, and I don't know why they don't make the main game doubles, but you know what, that's fine. Maybe I'll just have to play like Coliseum or Gale of Dark or whatever the one that is doubles default. XD, I think Gale of Darkness is that one. But yeah, a few things you can do, like Ransom Pokemon ladder is hella fun. Ransom Pokemon? I am not familiar with that actually. What is that? Hold on. Oh, you mean random? Was that a typo? Because random is pretty fun. Random is fun for just like getting quick matches in. Ransom Pokemon would be a very different thing. But yeah, no, I love VGC. It's just such a cool format. If you haven't seen already, there's the content creation scene around it has been popping off recently as well, I think, or at least a slight like there's Wolfie VGC has been making some amazing content around it. Cybertron has been doing some cool stuff. Ransom Moan, you roleplay as Team Rocket. Yeah, literally. Put down the gun, no. God. But yeah. I've been having a lot of fun in the draft league thing I made that I'm running with some friends. But and yeah, maybe who knows, maybe I'll be able to do some showdown battles with, maybe I'll do like versus viewers, or grab some friends to go up against, that sort of thing, or maybe just ranked ladder. Very bad, but my partner is really into competitive Pokemon, so I know quite a bit by osmosis. Yeah, no, it is definitely especially if you're used to singles, then learning doubles is like a lot of the skill does transfer, but a lot of it you have to relearn and you have to rethink about stuff. It's super cool. I would highly suggest checking it out if you get the chance, because it's just a great time. But yeah, there's just so much strategy that goes into it, especially with if you're playing open team sheet like best of 3 as well, and it like removing a lot of the guesswork and making it more like open information, but like still with some hidden information that you have to think around, and like it makes it more of a mind game thing, or like almost reminding me of like closer to chess, or like an open deck list card game, than just like they could have anything, so I can't predict anything, so fuck it, we ball. No, it like open team sheet makes it so much better. But yeah, no, maybe I don't know how much I want to stream Showdown specifically. I don't know how well that does on Twitch. I'll have to see. But at some point I'll probably do an actual playthrough of the real games, because I'm still somewhat unspoiled on the actual games. Like obviously I know the Pokemon that are in it, and I know like the main plot twist of like the villain or whatever, and some stuff relating to that, but I don't know a lot of this stuff. Heard open team is now a lot more like, dude, the whole terrestrial. Yeah, no, because it's really important for that, because you know all the mind games that could, like, and not even mind games, just guessing that would require. But even without terrestrialization, it's just like it's just a nice thing to have, right? Like it solves a lot of like the like in actual tournaments, there would be this issue where like prominent players would have to deal with people basically scouting out their sets by spying on their games, basically, and then like sharing the info with their friends or with like other competitors. And so it's like there's so it solves that problem, but it also is just like it's so much nicer to be able to like know what your opponent can do, even though you don't know what they will do. Like it lets you plan around their actual options, and it makes it like much more strategic, which makes it a lot more like the only thing it harms is like gimmick strategies that are looking to pull a fast one. But there's still a lot of creativity that you can do, like you can express with your team building. You can still do some surprises with how you stat train things. Yeah, haven't played them yet. Switch too expensive. Yeah, no, that makes a ton of sense. I'm glad that Showdown exists and that Pokemon or Game Freak or Nintendo or whatever hasn't tore it down. And I think even they realize how good it is for like growing their competitive scene. But yeah, it's just great for that to be able to do that sort of thing. But yeah, so I definitely want to do some Pokemon on this channel as well. Yeah, and maybe I'll be able to talk about taking the game design analysis of the new games. The one thing I do know about them is that they're very, very broken in some ways. So, so fun fact. Hold on, let me take another sip of water. Fun fact. When the game's launched, if you're playing online like ranked battles, the RNG seed, like the thing. Okay, so the way, if you aren't aware, the way that random numbers work in most games or even like computer programs is computers can't be truly random. So what they do is they'll make a seed. So if you're familiar with like a Minecraft seed or like any other like world generation seed or whatever, it's basically some sort of hash, some sort of number that the computer will use as a baseline for generating its random numbers from there. And usually it gets that data, it makes the seed using like user input or whatever, since that is fairly random, which is also why you can do like RNG manipulation if you're doing like a tool-assisted speedrun or whatever. Anyway, point is that in the ranked battles online, specifically, just ranked battles online, nothing else, the RNG seed was fixed. It was like set. It was the same every time, which meant that if the same events happened, the same thing would happen every time. Like the third move used every game would always crit. Or if you used like one of the low accuracy one-hit KO moves like Sheer Cold on turn 3, it would always hit. And so I have no idea how they fucked that up, but it was amazing. It was so fucking stupid. I find oddly fascinating that computers can't randomize their thing. Yeah, well, that's just because, like, you know, it's all like input output. Like I'm at it. Like it's just if you when you get down to it, it's all just ones and zeros, right? And it can't roll a die, right? So. And even like a lot of things in the universe that we think would be random aren't really random, right? Like, rolling a die is based on how you shake it or whatever, or how you throw it. And like thinking about a random number is based on whatever sort of thought process or whatever happened in your brain leading up to that point. Or like, I think there's like some really like I think 7 is the most common randomly picked number from 1 to 10 or something like that. So yeah, like, randomness is really hard to achieve in the real world, let alone in computers, which are just, like, hard input-output machines, right? Like, yeah. There's a lot of interesting stuff to delve into. Yeah, 7 and 3, if you remember. Yeah, that sounds about right. But yeah, what was I gonna say? Oh, the other thing that was really funny was apparently if you had like a second controller synced into the game and you used the left joystick on both controllers and pointed them in the same direction, you would move at double the speed. I don't know if it's stacked with more controllers, but you could go double speed just by using 2 controllers at once. How the fuck does that happen? There were moments throughout the game where, like, in certain cutscenes or whatnot, they would have like this like demo object Pokeball thing that would just be at the it'd be used like while like modeling the room to designate where the center of the room is, and they would just forget to flag it as invisible. God, I wonder who coded that shit. Yeah, I think the problem is that like they made like Game Freak made 2 Pokemon games in like 1 year between Legends Arceus and Scarlet Violet. Like they released those both in the same year, I'm pretty sure, or within a year at least. So like that game definitely needed more time in development. Like the Pokemon Company really needs to slow down their development pace, especially since Game Freak is like a relatively small dev studio. Like they don't have that many employees, despite being the largest fucking multimedia franchise of all time. They just don't hire that many people. And I feel like they could really use the extra manpower or the extra time or both to be able to make more polished products. Like fucking Legends are like there's just been a distinct lack of polish in their recent games. They need like 3 to 6 more months, yeah, at least, right? Like, God, it was definitely rushed. No, it had a lot of glitches on release too. Yeah, no, it was bad. The frame rate was awful too. Like, it was just very poorly optimized. I don't know how much of that's still the case now, but yeah. I guess I'll find out soon enough if I end up buying it. But yeah, so maybe next week I'll do some VGC on Pokemon Showdown. And maybe I'll try to set up that that VTuber Battle Royale thing. I'll try to yoink one of my friends to help commentate that with me. So look out for that post on Twitter. I'll try to spread it as much as I can, because I want to get a bunch of participants and try to make something really fun out of this. I think it'd be really funny, because I know a lot of, like, there's a very large power disparity between a lot of VTubers. Like, you have some people who are, like, gods of fate and reality, or gods, like, archangels or demons or whatever, and then you have other people who are just like, I am the guy, like, I am like a guy who runs a coffee shop, or like, or in my case, I am a wizard boy who literally cannot do damage. It's just like, I feel like that could be really interesting stuff that comes out of that. So yeah, I'll make that post sometime this weekend. So look out for that. But other than that, I think that I'm gonna dip for the night. Because I came into this stream very tired, and I have a feeling I'm gonna get very tired if I stay on for much longer, and I need to get to sleep for soon. Gotta appreciate the variety, at least. Yeah, no, for real. Like, there's gonna be a lot of interesting stuff. Like, there's so many cool VTuber concepts out there. I feel like people don't talk about the lore of their characters enough, and I want to give people the opportunity for it. So yeah, go the rest, my guy. You deserve it. Thank you. Thank you so much, Moira. I appreciate you sticking around and chatting with me tonight. Let's see. Do I want to do a raid? If I'm gonna go to sleep right after this, or like wind down to go to bed, is it raid time? We'll see. Nah, I'm not feeling it. We're gonna chill out for tonight. We'll see about tomorrow. Not tomorrow. Saturday, I'll be playing more Stanley Parable. So that's fun. Get ready for some more existential nonsense. But yeah. Thank you for stopping by. Thank you for watching. I'm glad to be back from my break, from spring break and all that. And hopefully I'll be able to stream more next week. This week was a bit slow because homework and stuff like that. But I should be able to get back in the swing of things, hopefully. So yeah, see you guys next week. Bye-bye. Thank you for stopping by. Woo.